This is a story about one of the many games that have entered the early access limbo and isn't coming out. And if it is, it appears that nothing good would come of it. This is the second game I have ever bought under the early access category and burned myself with it. It serves as the second and last lesson to not buy into early access. I'm talking about Next Car Game, or Next Car Game Wreckfest, or just Wreckfest. And sadly this game is a train wreck. It is made by Bugbear Entertainment, the people who delivered the likes of Flatout and Ridge Racer Unbounded. I spent tons of hours in Flatout. It was a great set of crashy arcade racers with style. So, Wreckfest got released to the public on January the 15th, 2014. I bought into it on November the same year. At the time I spent 13.99 euros on it. Currently it costs 34.99 euros. 35 fucking euros. That's $40. So let's get into why this pricing is completely ridiculous and it shouldn't cost more than $10, which would be generous as well. It's been 2 years and 4 months since its release. Welcome to Wreckfest. At first there wasn't anything much to do. There were a pair of tracks, a pair of cars and bot races available. Nothing really going on multiplayer wise. Well, there has never been a decent working multiplayer. The technology sneak peek was also available, which was essentially a map with different tools to destroy your car to show off their engine and destruction physics. But apart from all that, there wasn't much going on, and 2 years later not much has changed. It's still a bland, uninteresting project with nothing distinctive going for it, and most of what's been said in the Steam description can be disputed. It's been over 2 years after the launch of this early access, and there's still so little content and such a messy gameplay. The tracks themselves have nothing that stands out, just a bunch of generic roads with a couple of turns and 2 different surfaces, gravel and tarmac. Sometimes they are accompanied by random objects on the side of the road that just mess with you, cause hitting them will either hurt your chances of winning massively or completely glitch you out of the race. The driving mechanics, the cars, and the gameplay is where the action should be, right? Only nothing good to be said comes in my mind. First and foremost, we're building a fun racing game with personality. It's a motorsport with attitude. Expect tight neck-to-neck fights over the finish line. Where is all of that? There is no personality here. At the very beginning, you can only afford some cheap garbage of a vehicle that accelerates slower than a 1990s Volkswagen Golf with no engine. It's so slow, everything you do with it makes you want to go out for a bike ride in real life, because you would achieve faster speeds that way. The better cars, though, stats show over 200 horsepower plus a rear-wheel drive American muscle with a V8 engine, are slow and sluggish as well. The whole gameplay is like that. They take too long to speed up, they don't have a proper wheel spin, even on gravel surfaces where I expect to lose traction quite a lot. The handbrake is useless for the most part. Steering is so bad and the cars don't turn properly unless driving slower than 30 km per hour. If you slide out and need to get back in the race, it's going to take you ages since the cars feel way too heavy and unresponsive. The brakes are too poor. I would understand having stock brakes being bad, but they have included vehicle upgrades, which for the most part is just a way to spend some time not racing, and it's a complete mess. Some parts have upgrades, some don't. You buy an upgrade and get a random condition part. You can't even buy new stuff most of the time. You can even buy worse part than you have already, and you either buy that or just fuck off. There is some part fixing points available, but I was hesitant to use those since it seemed that I would not get more of them anytime soon. And there is no way to upgrade your brakes in general, which is the first thing you would want to spend money on since they're so bad. Everything is so sluggish and there isn't really nothing breathtaking about the driving in Wreckfest. Even the crashes don't put a smile on my face, even though there is massive amount of detail that can be destroyed in your car, and it can be bent quite a lot. The gear shifting is the most unresponsive I have ever seen. Automatic gearing is crap. Manual gearing is crap if you're using a keyboard or shifters for your wheel. It sometimes doesn't even shift your gears when needed, so you lose a lot of momentum trying to switch gears. If you need to shift, for example, all the way down from third gear to reverse, you will be mashing your gear down key until your turtle slow gearbox will switch to the gear needed. You also have restrictions, downshifting rapidly when in high speed because of the RPM being too high, which is stupid for a game like this, since there is no way to overheat your engine or anything like that. The only way I could shift gears properly was with my G27 shifter. It was the only way to make it work properly. All the aforementioned gear shifting problems disappeared when doing it with a proper shifter. Even downshifting from 5th gear to reverse finally worked just like that. If you choose to drive with the in-car camera, you often do not see past the uphill you are driving on, and the turns coming are like a surprise to you. The damage is so crazy it's going to ruin your life, because if you plan on using in-car camera, then some crashes will bend your car in a way that you don't even see the road anymore. So you'll have to switch to another camera, and hood camera can also not be an option. It's extremely weird driving in third person with a wheel, but at times there is no alternative. There generally aren't any signs that would show you the direction you need to drive. Sometimes the road splits left and right. Generally you will enter from one of those two, do a 180-degree turn and then continue on the next one. Only sometimes you forget which way you came in or just mess it up during the race, and when you do, the time it takes to get back is annoyingly long and generally destroys any enjoyment for the rest of the race. You get the sign that shows you are driving in the wrong direction and your car is instantly slowed down until you get back, and at times it isn't clear where you should really drive to, so you could just continue racing. Some small signs could help, don't you think? No, the AI for those bots is quite dumb and needlessly aggressive at times. When being in a demolition derby, bots quite often drive backwards when their cars are beaten up. When attending circuit races, they aggressively hit your car and spin it out of the way. When driving with a cockpit camera, you don't even see what's happening behind you. At some point, someone just spins you out. Talking about the driving once more, it is accompanied by tons of glitches. Your back can bump out, not spin out, bump out of proportion randomly, so you can spin out or fly out of the race. You get stuck in structures and even in sand, and if it is in multiplayer, you are stuck. Even could be for 10 laps, until it all ends, because there is no respawn option. How fucking fun is that? I'm having such a bloody good time. Multiplayer wise, this game is dead. The only server I got to play in for a couple of hours to make this video was averaging from 5 to 15 people on average, and it was the only server actually having players in it. And even there, they already had made a set of rules to abide by. There already isn't anything to choose from, and you already make rules, which if broken, people get banned. For stupid reasons. As stupid as, if the admins don't like you, fuck off. Banned. Some people got angry at me for running into them, but the moment I decide to cool down a little bit, a bunch of others are doing it to me. So essentially I crashed into others whenever I pleased, and if they got mad at me, I crashed specifically into them, just to piss them off some more. There are only a handful of servers to play and 99% of them are empty, plus all of them are community servers. There are no dedicated server support, and I can see why. There would be maybe a peak of 30 people playing there. Steam charts shows the same thing. The player count for Wreckfest currently is in the region of 15 to about 65 people. That's about 38 people on average playing it, which is just embarrassing. It's only getting worse. It was just a little bit over 100 people in April in some rare instances. Where did the spirit for developing this go? Why do you think putting a $40 price for this, and because of the cost I'm allowed to say, shit, is justifiable? 2 years and nothing has really changed. I looked at Bugbear release calendar. They used to release stuff with an interval of less than 2 years, but Wreckfest seems like the end of the studio since no real visible work is being put into the game and it's taking ages. Everything present is a mess and the base physics are glitchy and inconsistent and generally have been developed the wrong way. Because this isn't a racing experience many people would want to take part in, I think. They in some way have tried to make it a simulation-ish, but have failed, and now it is nor simulation, nor arcade, nor even a balanced hybrid of both. It's a mess. This game is totally not worth getting, not even for a huge discount, because there isn't really anything to do, and it seems that there never will be, which is sad.